Well, YouTube, I've got some exciting yet bittersweet news to share with y'all. I have a whole new adventure in my life that's about to happen. Well, YouTube, it looks like a new chapter in my life is about to start. I have been interviewing for the past couple of years for a specific job, and I have finally been offered a position, and I have accepted that position. This new job is not in a commuting distance from my home. It's about 2.5 hours from where I live here in Dublin, Georgia. So it looks like I'm going to have to move. Now, something you have to take into consideration when you're moving and you have a family, you have to think about your children and you have to think about your spouse. My wife enjoys the job that she's doing. She's very happy with what she does and the location she's at. My daughter is entering high school. She'll be in the 9th grade, and she has built many friendships around here in Middle Georgia, and she doesn't want to have to move. Another thing that you have to take into consideration when deciding to accept a job offer like this that's not within commuting distance, you have to consider the house that you live in. I currently live in a house that I'm paying a mortgage on. So we have to sell that house, or I need to find a place to rent up there where I'm going to be living. So when I broke the news to my family, my daughter was a little distraught. She knew that she would be missing her friends, and I explained to her that she was more than welcome to stay here with her mother in the house and graduate right here in this community. I explained to her where I was moving to, and all of a sudden her eyes lit up. She realized she would be closer to her cousins, her aunts, and her uncles. So she immediately said, "Hey, I want to go with you." So my daughter and I will be moving probably by the end of the summer, or before the end of the summer. Therefore, my wife will be at home all alone with the dog. That's what makes it so bittersweet. It's going to be hard living. Now, there are certain things I'm going to miss about Central Georgia, and there are certain things I'm not going to miss at all. I'm not going to miss the gnats. I'm not going to miss the dog food plant that cooks up the sweetest, nastiest smell every morning, and if it rains, it smells all over town. One thing I am going to look forward to is quite possibly snow in the winter. We have never had snow out of the 11 years that I've lived down here, 10 to 11 that I've lived down here. Never once has it snowed. Every single one of those years, it snowed up there in North Georgia. So that's one thing I'm going to enjoy, is getting to have snow again. I'm also going to get to move closer to my mother, my brother, and my sister and their families. The only bad thing is I'm going to have to split our family up for a little while until my wife finishes her contract with her employer and she can start looking for employment up there near me. We will miss all of our friends down here in Central Georgia. There are many bike clubs down here and biker organizations. There is a huge biker community in this area. And that's one thing I will definitely miss is the biker community. This summer is going to be filled with just packing up, storing stuff, trying to get the house ready to be sold. We've got it on the market. So everything that we're doing this summer is kind of really and truly just prepping for whenever somebody might decide they want to put it under contract. Now, we don't have the expendable income to go out and just purchase another house in a whole nother location before this one sells. So we're going to have to make sure that this house sells, and then we can look for another house. But to understand where I am right now with this whole move and new job, you have to understand the backstory of the situation. 11 years ago, I accepted a job offer right here in the Middle Georgia area in a little town called Irwinton in Wilkinson County. And it was an administrative job. It was something new for me. After spending 6 years in Wilkinson County in an administrative role, kind of more of like a manager role, I was offered a position right down the road from my house. So, you know, it was a no-brainer to accept that position. I went on ahead and took that position because, one, it was closer. And it allowed for me to not use nearly as much gas. A half a year after I took that position, and it too was a manager style position, it was administrative. A half a year later, they came to us and said that they were going to close that particular part down, the area that I worked in. And they were going to disperse the employees amongst other areas. And they did that pretty much except for me. They didn't do that for me. I wasn't given the same exact job. They did offer to allow for me to work in a whole nother position that was not the same position. It was not administrative. So therefore it was more like a demotion. So for the next 3 years, I had been looking, actually it's 4 years, I had been looking for and going to interviews for jobs that were based on the same type of job requirements or same duties in administration and management. Well, I was offered a position in a small town called Lexington in Oglethorpe County. It's just south, or actually just east, southeast maybe, of Athens, Georgia. I will be moving to Bulldog Country of UGA up there in Athens, Georgia. I'll actually be living with my mother at the very beginning until we can find a place. Well, we wait for our house to sell, My wife will continue to live at our house until it sells. And then when it sells, I will move out of my mother's house and go find a place to live. I am going to try to find a place that is 20 minutes away from my job, because one thing that I have learned is that the commute to work is probably one of the better things in the morning, and the commute from work. It was great living so close to my work, but I also missed those commutes every morning and every afternoon. And I'm going to miss some of these roads that I've traveled on, some of the scenery that I have out here. But like this lake, man, I love coming out here and riding by this lake all the time. It is awesome. It's beautiful, especially in the morning or at sunset. This is probably one of the most beautiful scenes that you can get. However, with this move, I am going to get brand new scenery. I'll have pastures to look upon and nice twisting roads. I've ridden through those back roads up there, and man, they are so beautiful. You got the hills, you got the twisties, and I'll only be about 45 minutes from our mountain cabin. I'll only be about 2 hours from the Tail of the Dragon. That's something I could do a day ride to. So if you notice that my videos are not nearly as consistent this summer as they have been since I first started, which was in March, that's the reason why. We are going to be a little busy this summer with packing and getting things ready for the move, maybe even getting things ready to sell the house. Alright, if you like what you've seen today, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get notified when new videos come your way. Until next time, ride safe and always get back home.